Mustafa, we are live. Mustafa, you're on speaker. We are live. This is not another boring podcast. If I can have anybody that join in, let me know if the mic is actually working. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cams. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. We're in front of the Department of Justice in D.C. The FBI building is right in front of us. And we're going to be camping here in front of the Department of Justice every day until Mustafa comes home, until justice is served for Mustafa, until justice is served for his girlfriend Dorothy, until justice is served for 5-year-old Empress. Now, Mustafa is calling from Prince William County. Mustafa, hello, hello, hello. Say hello to everybody. I know you got like 30 seconds.
Hello, hello, hello. I just want to say hello, everyone. Greetings. I just want to say God bless you for supporting me. And the Department of Justice has a responsibility to hold the police officer Robert Trump, who falsified a police report, accountable for all of this mess, and all the culprits involved are going to be held responsible for their involvement in this case.
You know,
Justice for Dorothy, justice for Empress, justice for Mustafa, and justice for all. This phone call's about to end. I'm going to call you later on tonight.
I love you, Mustafa. You take care of yourself. We're taking care of everything on the outside. And I promise you, justice will be served. You're coming home.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and thank you for anyone that's putting money on my books. Please support. I really appreciate you. And I love you all. And God bless you all.
Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
This is Mustafa calling from solitary confinement in our county jail in Prince William County Adult Detention Center. Mustafa has been held in a county jail in solitary confinement going over 2 years without a preliminary hearing, with falsified police reports. Every police report in Mustafa's discovery is falsified. We're in possession of sealed documents, sealed body cam. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth sealed off Mustafa's entire discovery, and it's been sealed for 2 years. His police body cams are sealed. Mustafa has a dash camera inside his vehicle. His dash camera is sealed. Now, unfortunately for Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, even though all this material is sealed, we have a police officer out of Prince William County that supplied me with this material, and I'm actively leaking it all over the internet. And we're sitting here in front of the Department of Justice. We have complaints with the DOJ, and we're demanding that they do their job. Now, when the local government fail you, you ask that the federal government do their job. Now, at this point, we're not asking them to look into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case and see if they falsified the police report. No, we're in possession of documents, discovery documents. I've got all the discovery documents, and every police report in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case is falsified. I have body cams and I have discovery that every police report is falsified. And we're asking the Department of Justice get to the bottom of it and investigate this county and bring justice for my brother Mustafa, his girlfriend Dorothy, and 5-year-old Empress. Now, we're gonna call in, and we're gonna call into a group chat. We have friends and supporters that we're gonna attempt to bring them into the conversation. Now, I have a very bad habit of just tuning everybody out. It's freezing here. It's freezing. It's one thing when you're doing a podcast in your living room. It's a whole new world when you're doing a podcast when it's this cold. But we're here, and we're going to continue to be here, and we're going to push through whatever this is. On that note, let's call our friends and supporters on a group chat and have them join the conversation. And for the love of God, please let me know if this mic is working. If you can do me a favor, if you can type in the chat, whether you can hear me or not, that would be a horrible situation that I've been talking for the past 5-10 minutes and the equipment does not work. We hear you. Laurie, thank you, ma'am. I'm glad the mic worked. And on that note, we're going to dial into our group chat and see if we can get everybody in. All right, well, that's the dialing. I want to introduce the characters that I have on this table. I have a monkey hanging from the microphone. Our beautiful, beautiful Mary Jo. How are you, sir? Keep us in your prayers. We're going to be here every day. We're asking the federal government to do their job into Prince William County. Falsified police reports, police misconduct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Follow us on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel, by the way. You'll see us here every day. Thank you. Appreciate you. Missy, how are you, ma'am? Hello, hello, hello. Stefana, thank you for being part of this podcast. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Now, I have some characters here that I always like to introduce, so that way you know who I am, I know who you are, you know who these characters are, so we all know each other when we're having a conversation. Now I have a monkey hanging from a microphone. Our beautiful, beautiful Mary Jo out of Arlington came out. I have a reputation that I built in the process of protesting for my brother for over a year and a half, that I coined the term a barefooted monkey. A barefooted monkey fighting for his brother. A barefooted monkey fighting for other individuals that are being treated like Mustafa. And our beautiful, beautiful Mary Jo got me a barefooted monkey. Now, we'll talk more about this character and what this character had to go through in the process of getting justice for Mustafa and other individuals. We also have another character. We have this character. This is Ursula from The Mermaid. We always want to include Ursula from The Mermaid. This is a witness. Her name is Amy Hodson. In one of the body cams, she's actually on a body cam talking to the investigator that falsified the police report. Now, it's unique, and we always want to talk about Amy Hodson because Amy Hodson is an individual that told investigator Drum that Mustafa is abusive to his girlfriend. Mustafa is abusive to the kids. But then she tells investigator Drum, I don't know Mustafa. I don't know his girlfriend. I've never met either of them. Now, that's hearsay. I mean, that's not a witness. But why is the Commonwealth attorney and this investigator are treating Amy Hodson as a witness? As a matter of fact, it gets worse because Amy Hodson is on the internet for the past 2 years on TikTok under a different identity. She uses the name Christine Alcozai, Christine Warda on TikTok, and she's trolling the conversation. Now, this individual, in light of the body cams that are released, we found her on a body cam. Now, on the body cam, her name is Amy Hodson. Online, she likes to go by the name of Christine Alcozai, Christine Warda, Christine Vila. She's using a lot of different names. But if you want to find her on TikTok, you'll see her troll the Mustafa Al-Jazari case under TikTok under Christine Warda 7. And she pretends to be Christine Alcozai. Now, we have her on a body cam. We've identified her, and the Commonwealth attorney in Prince William County is using her as a witness. Now, I want to dive into, now that we've addressed this character and this character, I want to dive into what Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth attorney, has done in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, and what is the news saying in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And what we're going to attempt to tackle is a piece of information that the Commonwealth has sealed, but unfortunately for her, we have that piece of information, and she's terrified that we have it and we're leaking it on the internet. On that note, let's watch the NBC4 Julie Carey and what she says about Mustafa. Now, if you type free Mustafa Al-Jazari on YouTube, you'll see a lot of body cams, a lot of discovery, a lot of material that is falsified in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. This case is a tragic vehicle accident. Mustafa lost his girlfriend, her 5-year-old baby, in a tragic vehicle accident. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. Mustafa was in a coma. When he woke up from a coma, the hospital, they did a toxicology report on Mustafa. Now, they found no alcohol and no drugs. They released Mustafa. Now, 2 days later, the investigator talks to Mustafa on the phone. And he talks to him for just about 30 minutes. Now, my other brother, Muhammad, happens to record that phone call conversation. Fast forward into today, what we have is an investigator that falsified the police reports. He flat out falsified the police reports. This investigator Robert Drum, wrote in the police report that Mustafa had told him that he was arguing with his girlfriend inside the vehicle, that he was angry at his girlfriend inside the vehicle. Now, Mustafa never said that. Muhammad, my other brother, recorded that phone call conversation. And Mustafa never said that. As a matter of fact, we took that recording. Mustafa was arrested because this investigator falsified the statement. He falsified the police report. He falsified the warrant. And Mustafa was arrested 2 days after the vehicle accident, right after he talked to this investigator, right after this investigator falsified the police report, on falsified police reports, on a falsified warrant. Now, we took that recording into Internal Affairs. And as you can see, I am freezing. But we're gonna tell Mustafa's story. We're gonna have this podcast. I don't care if I'm gonna freeze out here. We're gonna have this podcast. Now, we took their recording into Internal Affairs. And Internal Affairs contacted the Commonwealth Attorney. And First Sergeant Sean Shelton called us, and he said, I contacted the Commonwealth Attorney. I let her know of the falsified police reports. Now, we have a phone call recording. We recorded that phone call conversation with First Sergeant Sean Shelton. Now, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, 5 days after that phone call was made to her from Internal Affairs, originally Mustafa was charged with manslaughter. Now, 5 days after Internal Affairs told her that your police report is falsified, Amy Ashworth dropped the manslaughter and she upgrades the charges to murder. Now, that doesn't make any sense. We just provided you with our recording. Internal Affairs is calling you, telling you your officer falsified the police report. Apparently, what Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is doing is she's retaliating against us supplying her with evidence that her officer falsified the police report. Now, 4 months later, Internal Affairs sent us a letter, and from Internal Affairs, from the Chief of Police, that they found, well, instead of me talking about it, let's see, this made it to the news. Let's hear what the news have to say about it. There we go.
Crypto wasn't for him.
Report tonight, there are new questions being raised in the case of a man charged with murder
Now, mind you, at this point, when the news aired it out, this is just about 5 months later. At that point, Amy Ashworth has already increased it to murder, retaliating against us, talking about her police officer.
And her 5-year-old daughter last year.
They come after Prince William's police chief ruled the investigating officer had violated department policy.
Violated.
Virginia.
The letter that we got from Internal Affairs says, signed by the chief of police, that the officer in question, Robert Drum, violated department policy. Now, we have an audio of Mustafa and the investigator. Clearly in the audio, when you listen to the audio, it's loud and clear that you can hear that Mustafa never told this investigator what he's writing on the police report. This investigator is writing on his police report that Mustafa told him that he was arguing with Dorothy inside the vehicle, that Mustafa was angry at Dorothy inside the vehicle. There's an audio. Mustafa never said that. Now, the letter that we got from Internal Affairs, it says violated department policy. Make a side note of violated department policy, and then listen to what Commonwealth Amy Ashworth says. Because in the report, Amy Ashworth is going to admit in a statement that she was aware of the officer mistake on the police report. Listen to what she says.
Bureau Chief Julie Carey spoke to the driver's defense attorney about why he thinks the finding casts doubt on the case.
Mustafa Al-Jazeeri's been behind bars for almost a year now, accused of intentionally driving his car into oncoming traffic. A crash that killed Dorothy Fontaine and her 5-year-old daughter, Empress.
Now, mind you, there is a dash camera inside the vehicle, and the dash camera clearly show that this is a vehicle accident. Now, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is hiding that dash camera, sealing that dash camera, and after a year released a 5-second deformed version, a cut-out version that she pieced together, 5 seconds of the dash camera, and she's telling the community this is what happened. Now, unfortunately for Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, a police officer supplied us with the dash camera, and we put it on the internet, and we're going to take a deep dive into the dash camera, where you clearly see it's a vehicle accident. And Amy Ashworth hid the dash camera because she's lying to the community.
Initially charged with manslaughter, the charges were later upgraded to second-degree murder. Al-Jazeeri's family
Originally charged with manslaughter, upgraded to murder. Now, the reason that she upgraded it to murder is because she's retaliating against us supplying her with evidence that her investigator falsified the police reports. 5 days later, after Internal Affairs call her and tell her, your officer lied, you're going to upgrade it to murder? Ma'am, you're retaliating and you're protecting your police officer. Now, mind you, the dash camera clearly show there is no argument inside the vehicle. The narrative that they have, that there's an argument, that you told me, one, the audio of the phone call conversation, Mustafa never said there's an argument. This investigator flat out falsified the police report. And two, the dash camera, they were hiding. I mean, they're still hiding it, but we have it. There is no argument inside the vehicle. As a matter of fact, it's a vehicle accident.
insists the crash was an accident. The defendant's brothers filed an internal affairs complaint with the Prince William County Police, alleging the investigating officer, quote, falsified a portion of his police.
Now, you see here, this is an internal complaint that I filed with Prince William County. And my complaint is very specific. I said, Investigator Robert Drum falsified my brother's statement on the police report. I have an audio recording where the police report is falsified. The investigator put on the police report that Mustafa stated I was arguing inside the vehicle with my girlfriend. I was angry at Dorothy, my girlfriend, inside the vehicle. My brother never said that, and I'm providing you an audio where this investigator falsified the police report. I mean, to get a letter that said the officer violated department policy. I mean, you're investigating my complaint. I have a very specific complaint. Now, the problem that we have is at the time we got a letter saying that the officer violated department policy. I have a phone call conversation with Internal Affairs where he said he contacted Amy Ashworth and told her the officer falsified the police reports. I have a statement that you're going to see here that Amy Ashworth makes. She said, "We were aware of the officer's mistake." Now, why is it when I open the discovery, there's supposed to be a supplement report correcting the falsified statements? Amy Ashworth says, "We fixed it." Internal Affairs says, "We fixed it." Now, why is it when I open the discovery, the supplement report is falsified? The supplement report is falsified. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. I'll post it. I'll post the supplement report. You hear the audio of the phone call conversation between Mustafa and the investigator. Read the original report where Investigator Drum wrote that Mustafa told him I was arguing inside the vehicle. I was angry at my girlfriend inside the vehicle. And you tell me if the police report is not falsified and the supplement report is falsified. See, it's one thing to falsify a police report and go into Internal Affairs and the Chief of Police. You expect accountability. I mean, you have Internal Affairs, a department within a department for oversight. But to have the supplement report falsified, now you're not just talking about Investigator Drum. You're talking about Internal Affairs and the Chief of Police complicit in providing a falsified supplement report. I mean, for those that don't know what a supplement report is, when an officer lies on a police report and you catch them in a lie, you can provide evidence and they'll fix the police reports. Now, that's what Internal Affairs said they did. That's what the Chief of Police sent us a letter, said he did. But they never fixed it. As a matter of fact, now we have a supplement report falsified. I mean, this is sealed material. The Commonwealth attorney sealed it. She went to Judge Carol Weimer. And Judge Carol Weimer sealed the discovery and the body cams. No wonder they sealed off everything, because not only the report is falsified, but the supplement report is also falsified. I mean, we would have never found out. We would have just taken their word for it. You got First Sergeant Sean Shelton telling you, I contacted the Commonwealth attorney. The Commonwealth attorney comes on the news and said, we were aware of the officer statements. Falsified. What do you mean? So you're admitting that you were aware the statement were falsified? You were aware of your officer's mistake? I mean, literally, that's what Amy Ashworth literally says.
Benz. Court documents filed by prosecutors say and her 5-year-old daughter. And the Commonwealth's attorney also telling me the policy violation will not impact the case, writing, the letter has no...
And I love how they downplayed the whole thing. She said the policy violation. What part of policy violation? That you falsified Mustafa's statement on that police report. I mean, his warrant literally says that you now have probable cause. And the probable cause is I was arguing with my girlfriend. I was angry with my girlfriend inside the vehicle. That's what your warrant says. That's what your warrant says. Mustafa told me. Your police report says Mustafa told me. And to sit here on NBC4 and downplay it as if it's policy violation? What policy violation are you talking about, lady? What are you talking about? You falsified his statement in the police report.
Impact on our case are the charges we brought. We were aware of the mistake that the officer made in his report and had already provided that information to the defense. Court documents filed by prosecutors say there is other evidence supporting the charges, including...
You see what she says here? The letter has no impact on our case or the charges. No, this is Amy Ashworth. The letter has no impact on our case or the charges that we brought. We were aware of the officer's mistake that made in his report. You're aware? So you were already aware? So we didn't have to provide you? Then why didn't you fix it, ma'am? Why is it that the supplement report is falsified? Why is it that as late as the bond hearing a couple of months ago, your prosecutor gets up in court and repeats the same statement to Judge Carol Weimer? She said, Judge Carol Weimer, this is Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, Mustafa told Investigator Drum. Investigator Drum says Mustafa told him, I was arguing inside the vehicle. I was angry at my girlfriend inside the vehicle. Mustafa's lawyer at the time stood up in court. He said, Your Honor, we got a letter from Internal Affairs admitting they falsified the police report. We have an audio where this investigator falsified the police report. The judge listened to the audio, watched the dash camera, and granted Mustafa bond. Now, the prosecutor gets up in court, and she says, Judge Carol Weimer, the Commonwealth attorney would not be happy with you. What does that mean? What does that mean when a low-level prosecutor tells a judge, the Commonwealth attorney will not be happy with you, Judge Carol Weimer? Are you threatening the judge? What do you have on this judge that you can literally threaten him in his own court? And she orders Mustafa to have a 7-day stay, which is illegal, by the way. Once the judge grants you bond, it's illegal to have a prosecutor hold you in jail. She holds Mustafa in jail for 7 days, even though Judge Carol Weimer gave him bond. And then she's supposed to go through the appeal process. Of course, 7 days later, she comes back. She doesn't go through the appeal process, which is illegal. And she retries the bond as if she just had another bond. That's illegal. She comes back and she says, Your Honor, Mustafa threatened a correctional officer. No evidence, just her word against, just her words. She doesn't have any evidence. Now, in light of the discovery that we now have, I have a CCTV video inside the jail. I have the audio recording of a witness that Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer. Instead, it's the other way around. Mustafa was involved in being a witness to an inmate that died in our county jail on the hand of a correctional officer. When Mustafa met with investigator S.D. Long with Prince William County Police Department, along with other individuals that witnessed the death of an 18-year-old, Juan Campos, on the hand of a correctional officer Eric Lindsay, they witnessed a murder. The jail retaliated against whoever came forward about what they saw, and Mustafa was one of them, where correctional officer, a month before the bond, went into his cell, choked Mustafa, beat Mustafa, stepped on his Quran, violated his religious items. And then they turned around after the situation goes viral that they stepped on his Quran and beat him. They decided to flip the narrative. Now, unfortunately for them, I'm in possession of the witness that testified on an audio recording that Mustafa is the one that was beaten and his religious items was violated. That I have a CCTV that Mustafa is the one that was beaten by a correctional officer. That Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer. But this prosecutor in court got away with saying Mustafa threatened a correctional officer. Your Honor, she says, Your Honor, Mustafa threatened a correctional officer. Now, it's a really bad situation for Judge Carol Weimer because this is circuit court. Everything's on the record. And at the time, the CCTV video, the recording of the witness, is in the file that Judge Carol Weimer sealed off himself. So he's aware that this prosecutor is lying to him. our whole podcast is Judge Carol Weimer impartial? Has Judge Carol Weimer been impartial in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Literally, the name of the podcast is Judge Carol Weimer Under the Microscope. We're in circuit court, and now we're in possession of sealed material that we can put Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope and see if he has been impartial in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. God help you, Judge Weimer. I don't know how you're going to get out of this one. We have the body cams and the discovery that you sealed, and now we're going and combing through the records, and we're seeing that regardless of the evidence, you're protecting a prosecutor that's lying to you, knowing that she's lying to you using police officers and police reports that are falsified. This prosecutor, so she said two things. She said that Mustafa threatened the correctional officer and that she has a lip reader. That Dorothy said Empress is in the vehicle. You have a lip reader? Wait a minute. 7 days ago, you didn't talk about a lip reader. But now the judge grants him bond? Oh, you just got yourself a lip reader? Overnight? In 7 days? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Now, Judge Carol Weimer is the one that sealed off this material. Now, how would you like to know that when we open the discovery, we find out that Officer Zymus with digital forensic says that this dash camera has audio, and the audio is literally on the SD card that the police department has. So Officer Zymus with forensic digital admit that this dash camera does in fact have audio. So what do you need a lip reader for, ma'am? Wait a minute. So you're telling me on day one, your digital forensic, Officer Zymus, has the audio, is admitting there's audio, but you've concealed this audio for 2 years? Wait a minute. Isn't that exculpatory evidence? Exculpatory evidence that you're supposed to provide Mustafa's defense? Why did you withhold that this dash camera does in fact have the audio, that your officer says we have the audio, that the audio is literally on the SD card, but you're running a freak show in court saying that you are having a lip reader? Why do you need a lip reader, Sarah Sammy, when there is audio? Judge Carol Weimer, you sealed off these documents knowing that there is audio. Why would you entertain Sarah Sammy in court telling you that she has a lip reader when the document literally says this dash camera has audio all along? God help you, Judge Carol Weimer. You're in circuit court. And I am in possession of the body cam and the police reports where we can go and put you under a microscope. And this beautiful building, we're here every day. We're here every day, and we're going to talk about what you've done to Mustafa for the past 2 years. When we come back, we're going to take a deep dive into the details of the dash camera. This prosecutor is hiding the dash camera. For 2 years, a year into Mustafa's incarceration, this prosecutor released a dash camera, a 5-second deformed version of a dash camera where she chopped it up and released it on NBC4. Now, this prosecutor is terrified to release the whole entire dash camera, because the dash camera literally show this is a vehicle accident, that there is no argument inside the vehicle. This is a tragic vehicle accident. Now, you'll be surprised to find out that this police department, we have evidence that this police department cut the dash camera and muted the dash camera. We already have that document that we talk about. That they say this dash camera doesn't have audio, but now we have a discovery document that says Officer Zymus with digital forensic does in fact have has the audio to this dash camera, and it's literally on an SD card. Now the dash camera cuts off before impact. What dash camera cuts off before impact? Now, we have a piece of evidence that even if we were to entertain the idea, the narrative that doesn't make any sense that this dash camera cut off before impact, this dash camera has a lens facing outwards and a lens facing inwards. This dash camera is cut in a way where the lens, the frames facing outward does not match the frame facing inward. Now, the camera facing outward and facing inward is literally connected to the same computer inside the dash camera. When it sits on different frames, this is proof that this dash camera is manually cut. We have proof that this police department is so incompetent that even when they cut this dash camera, they chopped it not by the frames. They chopped it up by seconds. That's how incompetent they are. And we have the proof that they manually cut this dash camera. Now, when we come back, we'll take a deep dive into this dash camera. That clearly show this is a vehicle accident. That clearly show there is no argument inside the vehicle. And that's why Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is terrified to release this dash camera out to the community. I mean, the question really is, for a prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, why not release this dash camera out to the community? And let the community decide for themselves. But instead you hide the dash camera. I mean, listen to what she says right here.
We were aware of the mistake that the officer made in his report and had already provided that information to the defense. Our documents filed by prosecutors say there is other evidence supporting the charges, including dash cam video from the vehicle. But there's no audio on the recording.
There's no audio on the recording. And we have other material. Even though the police report is falsified, we have other material. And one of them is a dash camera. Well, man, why are you terrified from the dash camera? Oh, wait a minute. Unfortunately for you, Mustafa's brother is in possession of the dash camera, and he's leaking it. He leaked it on the internet, and we get to take a deep dive into this dash camera that you are terrified to release out to this community. Wait a minute. Did you say there is no audio? Oh, wait a minute. Don't we have a document that Officer Zymus admit that this dash camera does in fact have audio, and the audio is literally on the SD cards? Interesting. I mean, this is really interesting. On that note, when we come back on a podcast, we're going to take a deep dive into the dash camera, into the details of the dash camera. And there are so many falsified police reports. This police department engaged in child abuse. Dorothy has kids that are 9, 10, and 14. The police department flat out lied to the kids. Weaponized the kids against Mustafa. And their children in their most vulnerable state. They just lost their mother. They just lost their 5-year-old baby sister. Police officer, and this is in a forensic interview where the kids are saying, one of Dorothy's kids is 14 years old, Jaden. In a forensic interview, he says the police officer told me that Mustafa ran away from the scene, and if it wasn't for Mustafa running away, my 5-year-old baby sister would have still been alive today. That's a flat-out lie. Mustafa was in a coma. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. They did a toxicology report on Mustafa. For 4 hours, they were doing a toxicology inside the hospital. No alcohol, no drugs. They released Mustafa. The police in the hospital released Mustafa. And the first thing Mustafa does, he went to the kids to make sure the kids are good. And to have a police officer take advantage of a situation where Mustafa is in a coma, being helicoptered, and to weaponize a 9, a 10, a 14. You don't have to take my word for it. I've got the forensic interview where the kids are saying that a police officer lied to them. I mean, if that's not child abuse, I don't know what child abuse is. This police department took advantage of Mustafa, took advantage of a tragic vehicle accident. Mustafa had a lawsuit against the police, a over $500,000 lawsuit from 2018 that dragged all the way to the vehicle accident. Mustafa was suing the police. And Mustafa gets in a tragic vehicle accident, and they take advantage of this vehicle accident and now are falsifying his police report. This police department had beat Mustafa inside the jail. In the process of talking about Mustafa's police reports, Mustafa gets beaten up inside the jail by a correctional officer. And you want to tell me the police department has nothing to do with it? This investigator that falsified the police report apparently is above the law. That when you talk about his falsified police reports, this is 6 correctional officers entering Mustafa's cell. And when they take Mustafa out, they take out a half-naked Mustafa, an unconscious Mustafa, while one of them is still hitting him on the head and is kicking him. And they carry him unconscious, half-naked, from one cell into another cell. This is what Mustafa went through in the process of us fighting for him. They beat Mustafa. They sexually assaulted Mustafa. And denied Mustafa medical. Mustafa health condition is slowly deteriorating in our county jail. Mustafa had not had medical since May 24, 2023 of last year. Mustafa has extensive injuries, and the jail is completely ignoring his health condition. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. This is a CCTV video of our county jail of Prince William County Adult Detention Center. A year ago, Sheriff Glenn Hill says, nothing happened to your brother. There is no CCTV video. Well, today, we sit in front of the Department of Justice that sent us FBI agent, Special Agent Lindsay Coulter, Special Agent Samantha Adam, Special Agent Supervisor Huckle, that covered up for this jail. They called us into the Manassas field office, me, my family, and they told us there are no CCTV videos. Nothing happened to your brother. Your brother is okay. Nothing happened to your brother. Today we sit here in front of the Department of Justice, and the FBI building is right there. And I'm here to tell Supervisor Huckle, you kicked us out of the office. I'm here to tell Lindsay Coulter and Samantha Adams, Special Agent Samantha Adams and Lindsay Coulter. Special Agent Supervisor Huckle, you kicked us out of the Manassas field office. When we asked you, Mustafa was beaten up and sexually assaulted. You never x-rayed his injuries. You never gave Mustafa medical. You never did when someone is sexually assaulted, there's a test that you do. You never had Mustafa tested. Why? Why were you showing us still images of, you say the day after, but that picture was not dated. And you said there are no CCTV videos. Well, sir, I'm here to tell you, I have the CCTV video, and the community is watching. And we're in front of the Department of Justice, and we're demanding that you are held accountable for covering up what they've done to Mustafa. What we have in a county jail is a private jail. That private jail makes a lot of money. And apparently, they have special agents on their payroll that when something like this happen, and instead of giving Mustafa medical, holding correctional officers accountable, no, they protect the jail. There's a lot of money that goes into the county through the private jail. So they protect the county jail. I mean, they saw Mustafa get carried unconscious from one cell into another cell, and they told us there is no video. Nothing happened to your brother. We asked the Department of Justice to do their job and hold Special Agent Lindsay Coulter accountable. Now, isn't it a crime to dox someone on the internet? Last time I checked, it's a crime to put someone's cell phone on the internet. So we're here to dox Special Agent on the internet. Special Agent Lindsay Coulter. Now, it's a crime to dox someone on the internet, not alone doxing an FBI agent in front of the FBI building. I'm in front of the Department of Justice. I'm in front of the FBI agent. I'm in front of the FBI building. And Special Agent Lindsay Coulter, if you had any balls, come out and hold me accountable for doxing you. I'll tell you what's going to happen is that you're going to be held accountable because you've committed crimes. That when I literally sit here and dox you out, you're going to pretend I'm not doing it. Now, if that's not a red flag for the community, I don't know what a red flag is. I mean, literally, isn't it a crime to dox someone on the internet? I'm not just doxing anybody. I'm doxing a special agent in front of the FBI building. But what you'll see is nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen because you have a special agent on a payroll of a private jail. And she committed a crime by covering up this a year ago. We're asking the Department of Justice to investigate Special Agent Lindsay Coulter. Special Agent Lindsay Coulter. Her cell phone is 202-906-9674. And if you didn't get that, let me repeat that for you. Special Agent, FBI Special Agent Lindsay Coulter. Her cell phone number is 202-906-9674. Now, I repeat myself because I really enjoyed this portion of the segment. It is a crime to dox someone on the internet. Not alone doxing an FBI agent. But I'll tell you, no one is going to come here. No one is going to hold me accountable for doxing this FBI agent. Because they've committed a crime and they want to pretend to look the other way. We're here today, and we're going to be here every day. In front of the FBI building, in front of the Department of Justice. We have sealed material where every police report is falsified. You don't have to take my word for it. You can simply look at the police body cam and look at the police reports, and you tell me if they didn't falsify Mustafa's police reports. I have evidence that this is a tragic vehicle accident. I have evidence of my brother's injury. I mean, this is Mustafa's arm 2 weeks after they beat him inside the jail. You're talking about an inmate in solitary confinement. The only person that has access to Mustafa is the correctional officers. So 2 weeks later, when we visit Mustafa, his arm is 3 times the size of a normal arm. He has craters in his head. And the FBI go in, Special Agent Lindsay Coulter go in and tell us, no CCTV. There are no CCTVs. Your brother is okay. You saw his condition. But you covered up for the jail. You pretended nothing was happening. On that note, thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this podcast. I want to thank Missy. I want to thank Stefana. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa, through the police body cam, Judge Carol Weimer, under the microscope, in front of the FBI building, in front of the Department of Justice. Thank you for being here.